Welcome everybody. It is the 25-26 school year, and our teachers and staff have been working very hard on our school improvement plan. And so before Christmas, we like to do a little check-in on where we're at with our goals with each other. And so we made some videos by the teachers themselves, and we thought we would share it with all of you. So take a look. It's a little bit long. It's about 20 minutes total. If you want to fast forward, we went 5th grade to kindergarten and then some of our extra goals. But we are proud that our school improvement plan is a live working document that we are always aware of what our goals are, and we're working towards those goals. So enjoy.
Hey, Mr. Marcotte, we are working with our SIP plan, School Improvement Plan. Can you please tell me what the goal is for math?
The 5th grade SIP goal is for students to show their understanding of 3x2 multiplication using whichever method they choose.
And how is that measured?
The students are given 6 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication problems that they are to complete untimed.
All right, and where are we today with our SIP goal for math?
About 35% of 5th grade students currently meet the end of the year math goal.
And what can our families and community do to support students with this SIP goal?
Practice those multiplication facts. Most of the errors are calculation, not algorithm related. I'll do the algorithm here at school. If you could practice those facts, that would be helpful.
ELA with our SIP plan.
The ELA SIP goal for 5th graders is to use the ratio strategy. Restate the question, answer the question, cite text evidence, explain their answer, and give their opinion.
And how is that measured?
We measure this 5 times a year for our SIP goal, but they practice daily anytime they're asked a question to use the strategy.
And where are we today with our SIP goal for ELA?
Most students, 5th graders, are doing well with restating the question and answering the question. They need more practice citing text evidence, explaining their answer, and giving their opinion.
And how can our families and community support the SIP goal for ELA in 5th grade?
Families can help by asking questions anytime it comes up using the RACE strategy. Restate the question, answer the question, cite text evidence, and cite their opinion.
Obviously, I have integration. So what is the goal for integration? It is claim, evidence, and reasoning. How is that measured? Well, we do practice every other week using either a next generation science standard prompt or our new AI generated program prompt. The students are then to make a strong claim, make sure they cite their source with direct evidence, and then of course follow it up in their own words with reasoning. Where are we today? We have 5 data points for the year. The first data point, we only had 51% students meet the goal, but we were only measuring claim and evidence. With our second data point, we moved up to 63% of 5th graders meeting the goal of strong claim, direct evidence, and of course, following it up with their own words and reasoning. How can families and our community support integration with our SIP goal? It would be awesome if families would ask their students how they got their information, where they found it, and always to try and cite their source with anything that they read or do, or even gaming. Where did they get their evidence on their Minecraft or whatever game, because I'm not versed in that, but anything like that, finding out direct evidence on where they got their sources would be great. That's all for 5th grade. Thanks, everybody.
This is the 4th grade team, and we are here to share some information about this year's SIP goals. This year, in integration, students are learning how to use the claim, evidence, and reasoning format when answering a written scientific question. Students will begin by stating their claim, providing evidence from researched resources, and including a justification for their reasoning. In the classroom, students are using a rubric to evaluate their written responses, and they are tracking their growth throughout the school year. Families can help support their students' understanding claim, evidence, and reasoning by practicing with everyday examples, using graphic organizers and sentence starters, and engaging in collaborative activities. Start with simple, relatable questions like, why is exercise good for you? Or what is the best way to spend a rainy day? To guide them in making a claim and supporting it with evidence and explaining it further through reasoning.
Okay, hold on a second. Do I say this is Mr. Krawcheck or? The goal for fourth graders in math is to score 80% or better on a benchmark test on 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication problems. We will start by taking a pre-assessment in January. From there, students will be given periodic checkpoints throughout the remainder of the school year. Here are some ways you can support your child at home. First of all, helping them learn their basic multiplication facts would be a great place to start. This can be accomplished through practice with flashcards, playing multiplication games such as Multiplication War, or using websites such as multiplication.com. Next, supporting your child at home on using the strategies taught in class for 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication problems would be very beneficial. We spend the majority of our time on using primarily two methods: area model and the standard algorithm. Khan Academy is a great resource to use to look at examples of how these strategies are taught in class. Finally, you can further support your child at home by having them complete the additional practice page that corresponds to the lesson each night.
The goal for ELA in writing is that students will be able to respond in writing to a comprehension question following the RACE model. They will use a rubric to check their written responses when completing classroom work and assessments. Students use a self-assessment rubric in addition to conferencing with their classroom teacher, myself, to determine their score for their RACE assessment. Families can help students understand the RACE response strategy by practicing together, breaking down each step, and providing visual aids. Start by modeling how to use the strategy with the text. Then practice each letter of the acronym individually before combining them. For visual learners, consider creating an anchor chart or a bookmark with the steps to keep as a reference. Thank you.
Here's the school improvement plan for third grade.
In reading, the goal is for the students will be able to respond in writing to a comprehension question following the RACE model, R-A-C-E. They will use a rubric to check their written responses when completing classroom work and assessments. And our goal is that 75% will meet benchmark, 3 or above on the RACE rubric, which I am going to show you in just a moment. We are going to measure this. The teacher and the students will use a rubric. Again, I'm going to show you that here in just a sec. Every time we do a written response to a reading comprehension question. At our benchmark dates, students will be given a text and a reading response question, and their responses will be scored using the rubric to determine if they are at benchmark. And I'll go ahead and show you. This is what the rubric is going to look like that the kids and the teacher will use to grade each response. Again, we're hoping that all kids will be at the level 3 or above. In third grade, we want them to be doing the restate, so being able to restate most or enough of the question, answer the question, given a correct response to answer the question that was asked. And then under cite, we want them to be able to use at least one piece of specific text evidence with correct citations. We've been really working a lot on using the correct punctuation for citations. The E will come in later grades, so we're really just gonna be focusing on the R, A, and C and wanting the kids at a level 3 or higher. Where we are currently, so the last benchmark was just taken, and we have 97% of third graders are able to restate the question at a level 3 or higher. 84% are able to answer the question at a level 3 or higher, and 64% are able to correctly cite text evidence at a level 3 or higher. And supporting this work at home, it'll be really great if you can look at the returned work in their Friday folders and go through the feedback on the different rubrics and teacher feedback on written responses. That would be really helpful to go through that with your student. And then also, if you ask questions when they're doing their home reading, that prompts them to verbally answer questions by restating the question, answer the question, and give some text evidence. That would really help them work through their thoughts as they're reading and comprehending the text. And here's a sample of what an answer might look like at this point in the school year. A really well done 3 answer. So you can see that they restated the question, and the question was, why is the Nutcracker show magical? And they said the Nutcracker show is magical because the dancers were magical. So that's restating and answering the question. And then the citing text evidence, we've taught them to do in the text. It says, and he used text evidence to say the dancers twirling in white tutus, and they put those the quotation marks and the commas in the correct space. So there's a good example of what a good solid level 3 answer would look like at this point in 3rd grade.
Moving on to math, our goal is for students to score a 3 or higher. That would be 32 out of 42 on the multiplication fact fluency benchmark sheet in 5 minutes. Measurement will take place using a student self-assessment using the 0 through 12 multiplication timing results. Daily work and quizzes will be used for formative assessments, and eventually our multiplication fact fluency benchmark sheet will be used for the summative assessment. Currently, we're finishing up our unit covering 3-digit addition and subtraction with regrouping, but beginning after the winter break, we're going to start working on our multiplication fact fluency. You can help us support this work at home by using flashcards, playing multiplication games. Ask your student questions about their progress as we're looking for them to be more, take charge of their learning and make sure that they can self-assess about where they're at and where they need to be, what they need to be working on.
In integration, which is our writing and science course, the goal is that students will create a claim for a given science prompt and provide at least 1 piece of evidence for it. For measurement, the students will do a monthly assessment where they participate in a science phenomenon, and in their response to the prompt, they state a claim with at least 1 piece of evidence from their learning. Currently, we have 64% of 3rd graders able to state a claim consistently. 36 are not able yet. 57 are able to include at least 1 piece of evidence, while 43% are not able yet. How can you help at home? It would be great if you could always ask your student where they got their evidence from to continue practicing that habit.
Today I'll be talking to you about 2nd grade's math and reading goals, as well as how families can help. This presentation was created by Mrs. Gazelle, myself, Mrs. Olp, and Mrs. Peters. In reading, our goal is that 80% of students will be able to read 89 words per minute on a cold read by the end of the year. So what is a cold read? A cold read is basically a passage that students have not read before. It's at grade level. We assess it monthly, and this helps us track fluency growth. Our current data. Right now, 39% of our students are meeting the fluency goal. Growth is happening, which is good news, but practice helps as well. Please make time for reading every night with your child. Why does fluency matter? First of all, it builds smooth and confident readers. Fluency is reading that sounds like how you speak, with pauses and correct phrasing. It helps support comprehension, so they're not just spending time breaking apart words, but they're actually creating meaning, images in their head, and connecting to what they're reading. Finally, it prepares students for 3rd grade reading expectations. In 3rd grade, they are reading to learn, not learning to read, and beyond. This helps by comparing texts and different purposes, so to entertain, inform, and to learn. Fluency also helps comprehension. So one way you can help at home is as students are reading, just ask them the order of things, like what happened first. It could be in a chapter and even a short little section. What did the character do and how do you know that they did that? Providing examples from the text. And what do you predict will happen next? In math, our goal is that 80% of students will fluently add and subtract 2-digit numbers with regrouping by the end of the year. On the right, I have one example of the standard algorithm. Right now, 49% of our students can add with regrouping, and 10% can subtract with regrouping. Still the beginning of the year, so we're working on those skills. But the foundational aspects of place value and number sense can really help with these skills. How can you help at home? Practicing fluency at home with math facts for addition and subtraction up to 10 is really important, and multiples, just like playing around with numbers. Ways you can do that are games like Top It, Dominoes, Shut the Box, Race to 100. Flashcards are also an excellent example of ways you can play games and with dice. Mental math in the car and around the world are another great resource. We appreciate you. Thank you for partnering with us to help meet these goals. We are so proud of our second graders so far. Together, we can continue to help them grow as readers and mathematicians. If you have any questions, please contact your student's teacher. I also created or shared a visual here of the impact of what reading 20 minutes a day does. The first one shows that they're exposed to 1.8 million more words per year and tend to score higher. And you can see that that drops down a little bit by 5 and 1 minute. So this is statistics that they've shown over and over. So the best thing you can do with your child is read at home and practice those facts. Thank you for partnering with us.
Brownsville first grade presents
Working on our goals one slice at a time.
Enjoy the menu.
Our meaty math goals for first grade is that by the end of the year, all students can read, write, and count to 120.
Our cheesy reading goals are improving fluency throughout the year.
And to check out our specials, you can count any time with your child. You can count in the car, count while washing your hair, identifying numbers as you shop at stores. You can put objects in bags to count and have math talks with your child. The other supreme special is math games. You could play math card games like War and Addition War. You could play Yahtzee. You can roll dice to 100. You could play dominoes or cribbage. The other special is read daily. So support their reading homework. Check out those reading folders from Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Schwayton, or the reading logs from Mr. Niekamp and Mrs. Jones. And the last thing you could do is to create routines. So find a cozy place to practice, make a time that works best for you, and most importantly, be consistent. Let's make this year supreme!
Here are the kindergarten SIP goals. SIP stands for School Improvement Plan, and this presentation was put together by Mrs. Jutilla, Mrs. Kirchner, Miss Kirk, and Miss Weatherby. Our goals for the school year are the following. All students will be able to count to 100 by ones and tens, identify all lower and uppercase letters, and produce the first sounds in words. Progress towards these goals is being measured by ongoing progress monitoring using one-on-one assessments. As of right now, here are the grade-wide averages for all of our goals. Count to 100 by ones, 54% of students. Count to 100 by tens, 72%. Identifying uppercase letters, 85%. Identifying lowercase letters, 82%. First sound fluency, 92%. How can families in our community support the work? For math, practice counting to 100 by ones and tens with your learner. Some examples of this could be counting cans on the shelves, cars that pass by the house, steps on the stairs, how many in a group of toys, how many plates on the table. For reading, practice letter sounds and decoding, or reading, simple words together. Please spend 20 minutes every night involved in reading activities with your student.
Hello, I'm Mr. Graydon, and I'm going to be talking about the safety portion and the social-emotional learning portion of our SIPs. I did, and with Mrs. Peters, we did peacemakers. That's going to be peer mediators. So it's going to be students going out and helping other students during recesses. We have 100% of our bully prevention lessons completed. That's all 5 lessons with every single classroom. We've completed about 71% of our social emotional learning inside the classroom. That's tier 1. And right now I have 11% of the school in small groups with me working on our social emotional learning.
Hi, I'm Jen Simonson. I'm the assistant principal here at Brownsville Elementary. All of our classrooms have also participated in Kelso's Choice lessons. Kelso's Choice is a conflict management and resolution program that empowers students to make the right choice. If it is a big problem, such as a threat, danger, or bullying, they get an adult to help. But if it's a minor problem, say an argument, a minor bump on the playground, or even trying to debate something, they can go and make a choice to solve that problem.
Hi, my name is Stacy Roberts and I'm your support secretary at Brownsville Elementary. Our #1 goal for all students in all grade levels is to have 98% attendance. Right now, we're falling a little short of that. We're only at 94%. Please remember to come every day ready to learn.